El Trafico. You know, I've never taken a drug stronger than marijuana, but if there's a chemist who could take El Trafico and make it into a narcotic, put the needle right here. Also, Russell Westbrook, in a medical history first, blames coming off the bench for his hamstring injury. And did the Chargers screw up J.C. Jackson? Good morning, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos. It is October 20th, 2022. I'm in a tremendous mood. Kickoff cannot come soon enough. And if you like the content we put out about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comment. Because there's a lot to comment on today, people. It's a gorgeous thing. So before we go through the news and notes from around LA, we always take a quick look at the scoreboard. There weren't any games scheduled for LA teams yesterday, but today at 7 o'clock over at Bank of California Stadium, LAFC and the Galaxy get down El Trafico in the MLS Cup playoffs. Now the Galaxy, they won the regular season series this year 2-1, but LAFC won the only prior El Trafico playoff match a few years ago, 2019, 5-3. Meanwhile, Kawhi Leonard will play in his first real basketball game since June of 2021. The Clippers play the Lakers at Crypto.com Arena at 7 o'clock, and the Kings will play the Penguins at 4. LA has won 3 consecutive games, and by the way, go online. They dropped a reverse retro jersey today. It is magnifique. It is amazing looking jersey. So, LAFC and the Galaxy will play for the 4th time this year tonight, and for many of us, it's not nearly as often. It is not nearly as quick. We can't wait for the next one to come. El Trafico is 31 flavors of awesome. And I think one of the main reasons for it is because there's a lot of rivalries in soccer, right? But a lot of them seem kind of manufactured, a little fake. For example, for a while I was out in Orlando. Orlando City needed a rival. Atlanta United, they were in their debut year. Let's make it a rivalry. No, let's not make it a rivalry. It doesn't resonate. The Colorado Rapids and the Sporting Kansas City, it just doesn't. Colorado Rapids and RSL doesn't seem to have the same level of animus. And I understand why to an extent. You know, you had Chivas USA playing for a few years, and honestly, they weren't that good, but they did have a loyal fan base. They were not going to become Galaxy fans just because Chivas USA folded. They needed they found themselves a new team when LAFC was created, literally 3 days after Chivas USA folded. LAFC was created. They got a bunch of rich people who wanted to put a brand new stadium. They dropped it right in South Central LA. So I understand. I get it. There is an immediate and very passionate rivalry. Now, I've only been to one El Trafico live. That was the Zlatan Ibrahimovic debut. And I have to tell you, it's literally the last time I completely lost my composure during any sporting event. And we all know why. That debut goal that he had, which I have playing on a loop on my iPhone. But, I mean, I remember before the game, I was standing with the Angel City Brigade. LAFC supporters, they had filled the sections next to it, just filled it completely a couple hours before the game. They were singing and chanting. ACB was singing and chanting. Hours before the game, all the way through, it was unparalleled level of passion. Now understand, I don't have any animosity towards LAFC supporters. I actually appreciate them for the level of bitterness that this rivalry has. And it's a beautiful thing because it's star-studded, it's goals on top of goals, and it's pointlessly petty. It's really petty. It is so large, it's moving to the Rose Bowl for next year's season opener in February. So let's talk. Because thanks to some astute moves by the Galaxy this summer, I would actually say the talent level is matched up. Because let's be real, Even the most ardent Galaxy supporter has to admit that on paper, LAFC for years had the better roster. But now, if you as an LAFC supporter say, well, we have Jose Cifuentes, I say we have Ricky Puig. If you say we have Ryan Hollingshead, I say we have Julian Araujo. You say you have Carlos Vela, I say we have Chicharito. On and on and on. All of it is awesome. And then you're looking at somebody like Raheem Edwards, who played for both teams, now plays for the Galaxy, and he has it in for the black and gold. Now the Galaxy lead the overall series, 7 wins. LAFC has 4. There have been 5 draws. But again, LAFC won the last time these two teams played in the playoffs. And one other note before we break down the game, both teams spent big for MLS teams going into the playoffs. LAFC dropped $10 million on mid-season additions. They did not do that to win the Supporters' Shield. They knew they were probably going to win Supporters' Shield. This is a $10 million gamble to win MLS Cup, and LA Galaxy can just light the match and put it all up in flames tonight. Intense. Intense. So, we'll tell you what each team does better. What do the Galaxy do better? Ricky Puig to Chicharito. That's terrific. You see, because before they grabbed Puig from FC Barcelona, the Galaxy offense was predictable. It was simple. It was simply go up one sideline or the other, cross it into the middle, hope for the best. Ricky Puig is swift, clever, and fearless. He's going right into the heart of LAFC's midfield and defense, and he and Chicharito, they have their timing down very quick. The LA Galaxy are getting quality shots at a much more rapid clip now than they have in years. So they do that better. And also I would add that it negates the impact of LAFC addition defenseman Giorgio Chiellini, the guy that they got from Juventus. Now Chiellini's terrific. He's physical. He also is excellent in aerial defense, i.e. crossing passes. Now, if LA Galaxy only was doing crossing passes for their offense now, Chiellini could shut the door. You can't necessarily do that in this particular game. What does LAFC do better? They're relentless. They're just relentless. They've played a 4-3-3 for years, even off the bench. They know exactly what their identity is. They excel at it. They create chance after chance. Now, you take a look at LA Galaxy's game last week when they defeated Nashville. All the Galaxy had to do was stop Golden Boot winner Hani Mukhtar, and they did. But that's not what they're facing this time. They have to stop Carlos Vela. They have to stop Chicho Arango. Even on the bench, they have to find a way to stop Gareth Bale. Variants of offense. They can ask a lot of questions of LA Galaxy's defense as well. Also, when LAFC has their best 11 on the pitch, their best 11, notice I didn't say Bale in that instance. Their traditional starting 11, they know exactly who they are, where they're going, and how to get the ball there. See, if you say you take, when it comes time to make substitutions, LAFC can add, and they still have a pretty good idea of what's going on. The Galaxy's bench, honestly, I don't think it's as deep. With Puig, I would say the only thing the Galaxy have to fear is bench depth. But if you were going to ask me, James, who you got? Who you going to take? I'm taking the Galaxy. And here's why. I do believe Ricky Puig to Chicharito is an angle that LAFC has yet to face. They're used to crossing passes. I mean, they know that Puig is going to go up the middle, but they haven't seen it yet. Number 2, LA Galaxy have only lost 1 match in the last 12, whereas LAFC have lost 5 of their last 9 matches. So I'm saying I'm going to play the hot hand. And I'm going to say the team that has the new wrinkle that the opponent hasn't seen before. I'm taking LA Galaxy in what some would say would be an upset. Russell Westbrook in a medical first, to the best of my knowledge, blames coming off the bench for his hamstring strain. And I must say, this bothers me a lot. It bothers me because for many years I've defended Russell Westbrook, even before he was with the Lakers. I defended him in Houston, Oklahoma City, etc. Because I get that he's polarizing, but I have seen the man take over game after game. There's no question about how talented and the effort that he puts in. Effort. And that's why I lost respect for him, because he's claiming that he couldn't put in the effort for the very first time in his career simply because he was going to come off the bench for the first time in his career. You don't think that that was cause and effect? They were talking about him coming off the bench, and he claimed to be on board, and then all of a sudden, the first time he comes off the bench, oh, I can't. No, I'm skeptical. I don't have any proof. I don't. I acknowledge that. Color me skeptical. I'm racking my brain trying to find the last time a person became injured simply because he was a reserve instead of a starter. I think this is a message sent to Coach Darvin Ham. I think he's challenging his coach, saying, you will not have me be a bench player. I've been an all-star. I am going to remain a starter. It doesn't matter to me whether or not that clogs up the Lakers offense. It doesn't matter to me whether I'm a defensive liability now in this late stage of my career. I will not be a reserve. I think it's a challenge straight to Darvin Ham, and I don't respect it. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't respect it. Also for the Lakers, Anthony Davis is dealing with a sore back, but he's expecting to play. He scored 27 against Golden State. LeBron James has a sore foot, but he also should play. He scored 31. As for the Clippers, keep in mind, Leonard is not the only guy who has not played in a long time. John Wall hasn't played since April of 2021. If you're a Charger fan, let me ask you something. Was it the right call to bench J.C. Jackson on Monday Night Football at halftime? I'm not saying I know the answer. He will start again Sunday versus Seattle, but again, this is the cornerback who signed a big money contract in the offseason, $85.5 million. And now, because he's benched, understand, he's not blaming his teammates. He's not blaming the coach. He's not being a jerk about it, but he feels defeated over it. He said as much talking to reporters yesterday. So the question is, did Brandon Staley inadvertently jerk with his head? I'm not saying Staley was intentionally trying to do it, but did he jerk with his head? It was a low-scoring game, after all. Did you really think that the Broncos offense was all of a sudden going to put up 3 or 4 touchdowns, right? So I will say I understand Staley's point. The passing rating against J.C. Jackson, Pro Football Focus says it is second to last of all cornerbacks with 10 or more targets. But again, cornerback mentality can be a little fragile. This was a guy who had 22 interceptions with the New England Patriots. Now, what are you going to say? USC basketball has entered center Arrington Page, a 4-star recruit and the number 8 center in high school basketball. He is committed to USC. He is the second Trojans recruit for the class of 2023. Now, Page said he's coming to SoCal because they have a history of getting bigs into the NBA. He is said to project as a very versatile player in the pick and roll. He can stretch the floor and rim protect. So, big thing for USC to get there. Final note about the Dodgers. LA Times columnist Bill Plaschke wrote that it's the players' fault that the Dodgers lost, not Dave Roberts and not Andrew Friedman. And he makes some decent points. I don't want to just automatically poo-poo his opinion. But is it really Tyler Anderson's fault? Is it really any of the starting pitchers' fault that Dave Roberts automatically, just like not even thinking, automatically pulled the guys after 5 innings? You don't think that's predictable? You don't think pitching 5 shutout innings that they couldn't squeeze a 6th or a 7th out of them in the most important game of the year? But that's not Dave Roberts' fault? Just asking. Decent points, but you didn't back up the thesis completely, sir. Now, if you enjoyed today's clip, don't forget to like and subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We do talk LA sports here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.